Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are so excited to have our parenting coach and founder of Parenting with Personality joining us, Jami Kirkbride, joining us here live today to talk more about all the work she's done, helping her own parents, in a sense, raise a child who's highly sensitive, you mentioned, emotionally intense. There's a lot that she knows. Being a mom of how many, Jami?
7.
God bless you. So she's been helping parents of all sorts, and really, she clearly has a lot of experience, and we're excited to talk to her today to learn all about her journey. And I know you always wanted to be a wife and a mom, and you're also a very smart girl. There's a lot to you in your story. So first and foremost, let me tell people how we can contact you. What is the website?
Parentingwithpersonality.com.
Perfect. And is there a phone number you want us to reach out to you, or social media page as well?
You know what? I am on Facebook and Instagram as Parenting with Personality, and I also have a podcast called Calm Connection Parenting. So I would love to connect in any of those places.
Beautiful. You go right to the website. I saw the link to your podcast there earlier as well, which is great. Yes. Also, you got the book. We have the app. We have a lot to talk about today. But before we get started, I want to find out more about you. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And give me a little bit of your backstory. What made you get into this field and want to become a mom so bad?
Yes. You know what? I grew up a country girl in Colorado. And I played with baby dolls until I honestly remember crying that I was going to be too old to play with baby dolls. Oh. And so I think God put in me this desire just to really nurture and care. And so I think from an early age, I wanted a lot of children. I don't think I ever imagined 7, though. I think I probably thought 4 was a lot. So I guess I was abundantly blessed there. But I just remember from an early age always wanting to be a wife and a mom. And I remember my high school guidance counselor taking me into his office one day and saying, you know what, you have a full ride scholarship, straight A's, like we need to find you a career. And I said, I want to be a wife and a mom. And he said, well, you need to go to college just in case, something to fall back on. So he said, what do you enjoy? And I said, well, I like psychology, so I could maybe do that. He said, well, what else? And he said, what about broadcasting? And I said, well, I do like to talk, so that might work. Uh-huh. And he said, how about mass communication? We'll put you in broadcasting and psychology. So that was actually my double major going into college. And then I got married and I had a little one, and life did fall apart. And I found myself needing to get out of a domestic violence situation. And so I was thankful then that I also had these other passions to fall back on. And so I got my degree in counseling, and thankfully God just opened the doors for me to grow and learn, and basically sunshine after the rain, to have 6 more children and a wonderful life in Wyoming, on the prairie in Wyoming. And that's where we raise our kiddos. And then honestly, I did some work as a speaker. As you mentioned, I co-authored a book.
Yeah, I want to hear all about it. Oh my goodness.
I know, so much to talk about. Co-authored the book and was working as a counselor. And we were really experiencing some struggles with one of our own children who had some significant mental health issues. And some of his days were just truly dark. I mean, he was really struggling, and even so much that at one point he didn't even want to be alive. Yeah. And it was so hard to be a counselor and not be able to help your own. And so we thankfully God opened the right doors. We found a team of people that helped us figure out what his needs were. We had to learn some different things in parenting him. And then God just really helped me make a pivot into helping other parents who were experiencing similar things. And so the course that I have, the coaching that I do, is really connected to, like you mentioned, people who are raising highly sensitive kids. Some of them have mental health issues. Others of them just have personalities that may need extra. And so it has really been, honestly, through a path that included some pain, that I have found these passions. And so I guess sometimes pain can be a blessing.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I want to hear now, when did you start the Parenting with Personality now? Because how old are the kids? Give me the age order, because how do you manage taking care of children and having your own business? This is impressive, my friend.
Well, thank you. It has kind of been a process over the years. I think currently our kids range in age from 26 to 9. So there's an 18-year span, if I'm doing my math right. And so we have all different ages of kids, stages of kids. I know when we were doing wedding planning, we were potty training. And you don't always get those two at the same time. So we cover a lot of different ages. I have done different things at different times. I would say kind of the birth of my business, Parenting with Personality, probably happened about 6 or 7 years ago. And I actually had written the Yuzu, which is the children's personality book. And it's a storybook about 4 monkeys. And you can do this personality assessment as you read the story with your child, and they decide which monkey is most like them. And so it's a fun way to teach your child about personalities, for you to learn the personality of your child. And I probably wrote that. I think of everything like how many kids I had then. I think we had 4 kids when I wrote the book. So it was probably 10 or 12 years ago.
Wow. This is fascinating. Well, I got to remind everyone, parentingwithpersonality.com, and as an author, where can we find, where can we find the book? How do we find that?
You can go to theyuzu.com, or you can find it on Amazon. It's available right there on Amazon for easy purchase.
Oh, my goodness. And by the way, I mean, you've been featured on so many different programs, and you've been recognized. Now, you contribute author to 6 books, right? As well, The Mommy Diaries, Laundry Tales, Pearl Girls.
Right. Some different writing ventures along the way. For a lot of those years, I was honestly focused on just being a stay-at-home mom. So I would do some of these little projects on the side, and was speaking and doing some different things with like moms groups or things like that. And I just truly enjoyed encouraging moms.
All right, well, let's get started and now talk more about what you're doing and this work that you're helping so many families, right? And you mentioned, there's all behavior is communication, you say, right? There's children who are highly sensitive. But let's talk about those we say with, I call it abilities, not disabilities. And could you share a little bit about the work you're doing with them?
You bet. I love when we find positive words for it. In the work I do, I call it uniquely wired.
Oh.
Because it's not that there's something wrong with them. They're just wired in a unique way. It may not be something that we've discovered before. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times, we discovered that when the tools and strategies that we were using with our child who was uniquely wired weren't working. And we kept thinking, what's wrong? Like, we kind of had our own little study group when you have 7 that, you kind of do the same things with, and all of a sudden it's not working. And you think, have I lost my mojo? Am I off my game? Like, what's going on here? And we really had to figure out that his behaviors were really communicating something to us. And I think oftentimes in parenting, we lose sight of that. And we start seeing children's behaviors as we just assume it's disrespect, or we assume that they're challenging us, so that they're challenging, or that maybe they're defiant. And I think it's so important as parents that we step back and that we realize that even behaviors are communicating something to us. It might be that they're signaling that they don't have a skill. It might be that they need something, that they need help. They may not even have the words or the, ability to articulate for us what it is that they need. And so then they may act out with behaviors or even escalated emotions.
Wow. And you mentioned we all need to have this clear understanding, right? That all behavior is communication, and then to really, be seeking to understand what is being communicated, as you say. So you say it's often a need to be understood as well, to be heard, right? To get help, and understanding triggers, you say, are very critical.
Yes. I think it's really it's so important that we understand what is it that triggers our child. If it's a challenging behavior that we keep seeing, is there something happening before that then they act out or respond to? If it's a high intense emotion, is there something that is triggering that emotion? But we can't just focus on our child's triggers because they're only half of the equation. We have to really step back and figure out, what are my triggers? What am I bringing to this situation? And I know a lot of times it was hard for me to admit, but sometimes I was bringing the feelings of being embarrassed when he wasn't just doing what I asked, or that I was fearful of being judged if he misbehaved in public. And so those can become our triggers that then set off a situation or cause us to start, acting out of intensity. And what our child really needs, especially when they're highly sensitive or tend to be a bit more challenging, it's all the more important that we be regulated, that we feel like we're in control, because it's only through co-regulating that their behaviors or their emotions can start de-escalating.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. At this time, I just want to remind everyone how we can reach you. If you are just tuning in, you're here talking with Jami Kirkbride, our author, our, podcast host, right? Our psychology major as well. And of course, coach and founder of Parenting with Personality. That's parentingwithpersonality.com. You're based out of Wyoming, but you're helping parents and children all over, right?
That's right. I do online courses and online coaching, group coaching, one-on-one coaching. And I just launched the podcast last week, and I saw that it's already in 5 different countries.
Wow!
So I'm super excited.
5 different countries. Okay, what's the title of it? Where can we find it? When does it air? Give us the details on that, please.
You bet. Here's the lowdown. I'm so excited to share it. Calm Connection Parenting Podcast. And it is on Apple Podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on Buzzsprout. Many different platforms out there. I typically try to drop a new episode weekly on Wednesdays. So I would love to have anybody check it out and see if it might be an encouragement to you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. All right. Well, there's still plenty more to talk about here. I know we're going to get to self-care and so much more, but where did you want to head to next?
I think that one of the things that I find, I hear it so often from parents, is that they're just feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling worn out. And I want to encourage every parent to take the time that they need to take care of them. Sometimes I think self-care, it gets talked about and we start thinking of things in our day we can just count as self-care. Like, I did get a shower. I did get ready for the day, but that's not the kind of self-care that we really need to parent well. We need to go above and beyond that. And I really encourage the parents that I work with to schedule in that self-care time, because it's not selfish, it's necessary. And I like to equate it to when you're riding on the airplane and they give the safety talk and they go through the whole thing about, if in danger, the mask will drop, and they tell you put your own mask on first before you put your child's on. And there's a reason for that. And I think that taking care of ourselves as a parent is just like that. We can't parent well when we're parenting from a worn out, exhausted, triggered state. That we do our best parenting when we take care of ourselves. And I think we also then can model for our child what it looks like to have a need, to get a need met, and to take care of what it is that makes you function better.
Sounds good. And that's one of the things we always, as parents, put that self-care. Sometimes we put ourselves last, and it shouldn't be. But I think a lot of us have been burnt out, have done this before as parents. And can I just ask you, would you be open and honest to say you've had struggles with parenting as well? We're not alone, which is what I want to point out. Even though you're an expert, right? And you're
I even hate to use the word expert because you know what? So much of what I've learned has been trial and error. And I think sometimes people are afraid to reach out and ask for help because they feel like they're doing it wrong and they're going to be judged by somebody who's doing it all right. And I can tell you, I am still learning lessons in parenting. Every child is unique and different. And you have to learn to adjust and pivot and try new things. And I make mistakes. And I like to remind parents that even when we're making mistakes, we can be helping our children learn. Even if it's learning how to apologize or make things right, that those are still really important things to learn. And, like I said, I've learned from the school of hard knocks, trial and error. And sometimes that's important for our kids to see us mess up and how we come back. And so, no, I am not doing everything perfect and right. I still have days where I'm triggered. I still have days where I think, why can't I get them to get their chores done? So, no, things aren't going totally perfect here. I just know it's a process. And you know what? We're all human. We all make mistakes. Our kids are going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. It's really all about grace and just keep going.
Oh, well, thank you for reminding us of that. It makes us feel better. And, let me ask, now the work that you're doing, if you go to the website again, parentingwithpersonality.com, let's, break it down. You're doing coaching strategies, strategy sessions as well. And what is it like to work with you? How does it normally work? How long do people need to, do work with you live or to, do your parenting courses as well?
Yes, great questions. We have different options because I know every family's needs tend to be a little unique to them, to their child's issues or what their schedules look like. And so that's one of the reasons I really like the coaching course. I had run it for a year, but I am changing it up and we're going to do 6 months.
Good. Okay.
And so in those 6 months that we would work together, we would have weekly group coaching, but we also have a level where you can get one-on-one coaching to kind of focus and personalize what your family or child's needs are. Or you can do just the group coaching. So it kind of gives a couple different opportunities there. And you mentioned the app, and that's one thing that I really like is that just recently I was able to put the course on the app. So for parents that feel really busy, they don't know if they have time for something else, there's little video segments that they can watch, but you can watch it on your phone. So you don't have to be sitting captive at your desk.
Perfect. We love that.
You can watch it while you're in the, pickup line at school. And, I just do little video segments. We have some workbook activities to kind of help drive home the points and the strategies that we're learning. But then we have those coaching sessions where we can really brainstorm and talk about what it looks like to implement those strategies.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that. And let me ask, you've been doing this, for quite some time. I mean, as a mom, right? Let alone, what would you say some of the challenges have been for you?
Oh, that is such a good question. I think one of the biggest challenges was just really kind of honing in on each of our children's personalities. And I say hands down, learning your child's personality is the best parenting tool ever. And if I didn't know the personalities of all of my kids, I think I would feel like I was in a circus because so much of what they do relates to their personality style.
Yeah.
And, how they see the world, how they communicate, how they want you to communicate, their motivation, how they respond to discipline or redirection. And so I really encourage all of my coaching clients, I encourage any parent to start with figuring out your child's personality. And that was actually our podcast last week. And then part 2, which just got dropped today, is on figuring out your child's personality. And that really is one of the best and probably my favorite tool in parenting is just understanding personality.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. How exciting. All right. Well, there's still so much more here on your sheet for us to get to know you. I know it's our first time together, so I like getting an overview about you, and I've learned a lot. What else did you want to make sure we cover for today's show in particular that's important to you, Jami?
You bet. I just want to encourage so many parents are investing everything they have in parenting, and that's commendable. And I want to encourage that. I also want to encourage parents that it's okay to invest in those things that help refresh your soul and your spirit. And I know for me, there were really hard seasons of parenting where I thought I was never going to be speaking again. I was never going to be writing again. I could never help anybody again. And you know what? We got through those seasons. And it's important to grow whatever parts of you can in the process, because someday those kiddos are out the door and they're on their way, and you will have more time and you will survive to do things beyond mothering. And I just want to encourage any moms that are feeling like, I don't know if there's going to be much of me left after this. There will be, and that we each have such an important passion and purpose. And while mothering and parenting is a part of that, there is more, and it is okay for you to pursue those things in addition to putting your heart and soul into mothering.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's so beautiful. And we've all been there. We've all had, trials and tribulations. It's part of it. But it's good to talk to someone who has that experience as well, who's worked with so many. And, a lot of us, it's hard. I mean, you're not, challenges. My nephew has ADHD, anxiety. The other one, we're all dealing with so much. And I feel like, let me ask, I feel like this term of ADHD and ADD has been so popular. We had the pandemic, everyone's suffering with anxiety, and it's something that I feel like there's a lot more people talking about mental health, which is a good thing too. And, that wasn't always the case. It was kind of like a hidden, don't talk about type of thing. But I'm glad we are able to sit here and talk about this today and, be so open about it to know you're not alone. Yeah.
That's right. It's so important that we talk about it, because there has been such a stigma, even for things such as ADHD. It used to kind of be a catch-all where kids that weren't behaving were kind of just labeled ADHD. And that's so unfortunate, because it is very legitimate, and it is not a parenting issue, and it is not a behavior issue. It is a neurological difference. And it's so important that for us to understand things like ADHD, that we break it down and we understand, what is different in the wiring? What are their brains like? And instead of seeing it as a deficit, that we start seeing what is wired differently to make them successful in different ways. And as parents, how do we work with that? And working with our own child's ADHD, I discovered so many things, even as a mental health professional. There was so much more to ADHD that I had never understood, with executive functioning and sensory processing and time management and task initiation. And it was very interesting that through the process of learning about my son's needs, I actually figured out that I too had ADHD. And nobody had ever talked to me about that. I mean, I was a straight A student. I was successful in a lot of different things. I never had behavior issues, but I had constantly struggled with feeling anxious and depressed. And only when I figured out this missing piece of the ADHD and what my brain really needed, was I able to start being able to channel some of that energy in effective ways. And I finally felt like I could understand myself better.
Oh, beautiful. We still have, 3 minutes left of the show. I know it goes quick. What else do you want to make sure we get across for today's show? Thank you.
Oh, you bet. More than anything, I just want to be a resource to parents. If you need, maybe you just need clarity on what your child's issues might even be, whether it's personality, mental health. Sensory processing is another thing a lot of parents are really struggling to understand. Executive functioning and their piece of ADHD. Many parents are even finding, I'm not sure it's ADHD. I think it might be something different, but I don't know what. If you are just a parent looking for clarity, I am here. We can sit down, we can talk through, what do you know? What do you not know? And how can we figure out what resources we can plug you into to put those pieces together, and just to, support you, to give you that encouragement, to cheer you on. I have a Facebook group that you're more than welcome to join. It's a great supportive community where there's parents that are, trying to learn these strategies. We're trying to put the pieces together and in the process encourage each other. And so I just want to make sure that no parent feels alone.
Beautiful.
It can be a tough gig to be a parent, but, I'm here to support and encourage however I can.
Sure can. Thank you so much. And let's remind everyone all the ways we can reach out to you. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Parentingwithpersonality.com, the Calm Connection Parenting Podcast, and the app Parenting with Personality, which is on your phone.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Really exciting getting to know you. Congratulations on all your success. And most important, God bless you and your family. Amazing. Are we back again next week?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Didn't know. But hopefully we are. I mean, I would love to, obviously dive in further and hear some more of the stories of the people and the families and the children you're helping. Thank you so much. Beautiful soul, beautiful woman here. If you're not on the Zoomcast, you may be on just the podcast. Check out the video online as well. And don't forget, visit our website. And thank you for being here today. We appreciate you.
It was great.
Same here. Parenting with Personality. And, by the way, there's that chaos, what is it? To calm sheet. You can go right on the website and get
to calm cheat sheet. That's right.
Perfect. And tell us a little bit about that quick. Well, what can we get if we go to the website?
You bet. You know what? Some quick tips, an easy reference guide for what you might need in those moments of chaos emotions. So get your Chaos to Calm cheat sheet at parentingwithpersonality.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Have a great day, okay? And to all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.